I usually always ask people, how has supernatural changed your life? And I know that your answer is going to be incredibly meaningful.
Yeah. In the morning crew, they know that if you ask me a data question, I love data questions. I love to go get the Airtable. I love to do all kinds of crazy stuff in Excel.
I'm coming for your group. All you had to say was you have a club, and I'm down. I'm coming.
We are about 12 miles away from the launch pads right there. I want the spreadsheet of all of Coach Mark's dad jokes. Like, I want to know.
That would be incredible.
Where is that joke, right? That was a hilarious joke. I want to go back and listen to that. I'm going to whisper this because my friends already know I'm thinking it. They can see my face. They know what I'm thinking. Marla, skip song on the corn song.
No, I can't.
No, don't tell anyone. Just don't tell anyone. They won't know.
Don't tell anyone.
I have a photo of myself at Stonehenge, right? So even though when I was at Stonehenge, I had no idea what supernatural was, and where she got me was, they have a spreadsheet. I'm like, what? I can be on the spreadsheet?
Exactly. That's all it takes. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of For the Love of the Map, where we chat all things supernatural, choreography, and finding joy in movement. I am your host, MJ. And today I'm super excited to have our special guest this week, Bill Jelen, also known as Mr. Excel. Welcome to the show, dude.
Hey, Marla. Boy, it's great to be here. This is so cool. I'm a big fan of the show. So
I'm so glad that you said yes.
Right. I just hope, I hope that we're interesting.
I'm sure we will be
clicking away right now, like, oh, this guy.
Definitely not. I already know. So let's just get right into it. When did you find supernatural, and how did that come to be for you? Tell us.
That's right. So full time, November 1st of last year, 2023.
Yeah.
I had been in supernatural 2 workouts, maybe a year before that, and then it just didn't catch on, right? And did not realize that I would continue to pay for supernatural. Until I got a notice saying, hey, we lowered the price, so your subscription is longer. I'm like, what? I still have that. Oh, cool. Right. And then since then, I started out 2 or 3 days a week, and probably within a month had found a workout party to hang out with. And, I'm on a pretty good streak now of consecutive days every day. So
every single day. And I think, well, I know for a fact, this is something that we find over and over and over again in the community. As soon as you start joining parties, as soon as you start joining external communities, you just get sucked in. You find your people, and then you're working out for hours a day.
Right. It's amazing. Like, I chart everything. I'm a data guy. And just seeing the chart of the day that I first showed up in that first workout party, and actually the day before that, the phone rang and I didn't even know what to do. So, it was like probably a Tuesday or Wednesday. And, like that day, someone said, hey, I'm crossing Kelly. Kelly said, I'm crossing 2 million points in 2 days. You have to come back. Right. I don't know who Kelly is. I don't know what 2 million points are, but sure, I'll come back. Right. And then pretty soon I was hooked. And it's just great. There are people that are around, in my case, the eastern half of the United States. And it's just fascinating to hear what happened at work yesterday and what's going to happen at work tomorrow. You got to come back just to see what the next episode of the Morning Crew is going to be. I'm really good friends with a lot of those people now.
That's incredible.
And had a chance to meet some of them in real life, which is awesome. So.
Yeah, you were a part of the peeps who went to Nashville. I saw your picture in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a funny story. I was supposed to go to Nashville, and I was on the flight. The flight rolled out, and we were going to take off. And then there was a hydraulic pump that went bad, and they sent us back to the gate, and I couldn't get there in time. So I sent my picture in from the airport, but I didn't make it into that great. They have a great side-by-side of all of them working out. I was like, my FOMO was really kicked in there. I was like, that would have been so much fun.
Next time, now you guys have to plan a whole new get-together so that you can definitely be there.
Right. Yeah.
It's always really neat when I see those kinds of posts in the greater community of people connecting. They become, you become like family. You want it, like you said, you got to see what the next episode of their workday is like, what their family is doing. It's incredible that VR and supernatural has given us this opportunity to make deep connections.
Right. It really is. And, I say this jokingly and lovingly, but there's a few of those people that if I stopped showing up, they would come kick my ass. Right?
Yes,
And
100%.
I appreciate that. I've had a bad history in the past where I'll start to ride the bike every single day, and then it's very reliable. After 4 months, I stop. Right. I'll miss one day. I'll break that streak. I'll miss one day, and then I never come back. But anytime I won't consider it now. Anytime I considered leaving, it's like, oh no, I really can't leave because someone's going to come kick my ass.
Yes, they're going to come hunt you down.
And I really, I so appreciate them getting me over that hump. And now that I'm here, like I can't imagine leaving. It's a part of my day. So.
Yeah. And I usually always ask people, how has supernatural changed your life? And I know that your answer is going to be incredibly meaningful.
Yeah. And it's funny. I was at the doctor this morning, and so one year ago, I went to the doctor, and she was like, "You're in trouble. You are in trouble." And then she sent me to a cardiologist, and I could hear, I'm leaving, and I hear the cardiologist recording into her little voice recorder, and it wasn't pretty. It was ugly words, obese, and like, this guy's going to die soon. And that really kicked me into gear. And I came into Supernatural, and I know I had a happy post 60 days later where my cholesterol was cut in half, right? But today, 1 year later, so this is working out 2 to 3 hours a week. I'm sorry, 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day.
I was going to say, I know you work out more. I see you on the leaderboard.
Yeah, right. Which to me is an insane number. Like I never could have done that when I started.
Right.
But so for anyone who knows heart stuff, there's a fraction. There's something called an ejection fraction. And 1 year ago, I was at 40%, which is like, you're headed towards trouble. And 1 year later, I'm at 60 to 65%, which is completely normal. Right? Is that crazy? And there was an atrial wall that was enlarged a year ago, and it's not enlarged now. Like, yeah. So, I have to give credit to, the doctors who scared me enough to get me in here. And then to my friends who just keep me coming back every day, and really to the Supernatural team, just like, that's an amazing turnaround.
It is 100%.
So, yeah.
I'm glad the doctor scared you. I had a similar experience. And when I tell that story, a lot of people are like, I can't believe your doctor spoke to you like that. I'm like, no, I needed to be spoken to that way. Yeah. I'm glad they kicked me into gear. I'm glad they scared me. It's changed my whole trajectory of my life and my health. Sounds like it did the same for you too.
It did. And I know I still have, I have more to do. Like I've lost 45, 47 pounds, but I need to lose more. And, that's cool. I can do that. I'm just doing it nice and slow and not crazy. Like I've lost twice before, I've lost 50 pounds and gained it all back. But now I'm convinced I have a lifestyle, new eating habits, that, I can do this.
You can stick with it.
I managed to live. So
that's incredible. Wow. Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that.
Thanks. So are we. Mary Ellen's happy. So. Yeah.
And what do they say? If the wife is happy,
happy wife.
You're happy.
Happy life. That's right.
Exactly.
I still do enough to drive her crazy, but
well, I would expect nothing else.
This issue. Right. That's right.
So I also know that you are a librarian, but now my mind is blown because I knew you hadn't been in Supernatural that long, but you only started in November of 2023?
Yeah, so I managed to become a librarian in just under 1 year.
Wow.
And somewhere along the way, I had said, I'm never going to do that. Like I was trying to get to 1 million points. I wanted to join the Million to Infinity Club, and I got to the Century Week Club.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm never going to do the librarian just because there's a lot of music I don't like. But then somewhere along the way, I'm not sure what happened. The librarian questionnaire was like, how did you decide to do this? And I said, it must have been peer pressure, right? So
peer pressure.
And just a shout out to the morning crew. And I'm just going to be completely honest about this. Like I really wanted to get to the librarian within a year, and I took advantage of the rules in Supernatural. And back when they said you could start to skip songs, I started doing that, right? And not just the songs I hate, but I would skip the longest song. If there's a 7-minute song in a workout, I skip that. And in the morning crew, they know that if you ask me a data question, I love data questions. I love to go get the Airtable. I love to do all kinds of crazy stuff in Excel. And very innocuously, 3 weeks ago, Michelle just said, hey, I got a weird question. Can you tell me the 10 longest songs in Supernatural? I'm like, absolutely. Let me go do that for you. Right? Like a dog running down the street after a ball. And I sent it back to Michelle with no questions. I said, do you need anything else? She's like, nope, I'm good. And then like a week later, I discovered that I was unwittingly punking myself because Michelle introduced the new Bill challenge with the introduction of these are the 10 longest songs, and we bet Bill has never done these. So each Tuesday and Thursday we're up to the third from the seventh longest song we did this morning. And they're going to make me go through them all, which is great.
That's a great friend. It's a great friend.
I love my friends, and I love to laugh at myself. And so, yeah, that was just hilarious. Just hilarious.
Well, I've got to ask, I know that you are one of the admins for the Apple Watch Challenge group.
Right. Yes.
So that's like a whole other level of accountability.
It is. So it's great. I hadn't had an Apple Watch when I heard about this, and I heard a lot of people talking about it, right? That you have to do 90 minutes of exercise a day, 14 times during the day you have to stand for a minute. So like, if you get into work, like sometimes you'll get into work and, you're just heads down and 2 or 3 hours go by without you even standing up, right? And so the watch reminds you at 10 till, like, hey, you got to stand up, and you can't just stand up. You got to go walk somewhere. Mm-hmm. Right. And so 14 times a day you do that, and then burn some certain number of calories based on your weight. And they said, hey, you should join us. Right. So I joined the group, and it's a team of 4. And right now it's for 2 weeks. You're just trying to compete and try and get those. It's usually 3 people. We call them maxers, the people that max out the points every day. And then 1 person who's not a maxer. So, we're trying to gently bring those people up so that way they can at least close their ring so we can get our bonus. And maybe, like this last time, it was beautiful. The person that we weren't sure about became a maxer, right? And we had 4 maxers on the team, and we finished in first place, and we were super happy. But next time, you might get a different group, but you're just trying to encourage people to move and become active and have a little fun along the way.
Yeah, and collect all that data. That's the one thing that I absolutely love about my Apple Watch. So when I started on my own personal health journey, I didn't have a watch. It wasn't until about 3 months into exercising, changing my eating habits, that I decided to get one. I thought, I need one. I want the data. So for 3 years now, I can go through, I can see how many steps I average. I can see all of that. And I love it. I love seeing my resting heart rate keep going lower and lower and lower.
Right.
All those non-scale victories. So I think it's really admirable and such a great idea to create an Apple Watch Challenge group, because someone like you, who is always a maxer, can help motivate the people who don't always necessarily close their rings. You're like leading them to better, healthier habents.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without trying to be you don't want to be a jerk about it,
No.
Like, hey, so we keep changing the questions. When you're signing up, hey, if you're not sure, there's a solo watch challenge, but here you're going to have 3 other people who are relying on you to, to communicate with us, show up on Messenger, accept us on Messenger, and so we can pep talk you up, right?
Right.
And try and close your rings every day just to get those bonus points for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's pretty neat. So if anyone here is listening and you didn't know about the Apple Watch Challenge group, I'll make sure I pop it up on the screen, and I'll also put the link to join in the show notes if you're checking this out on Apple or Spotify. So you should go check it out, because I think it would be a great way to hold yourself accountable, not just to Supernatural, but other activities outside of the headset also counts.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, walking, biking, the whole bit.
Right.
And I think so far we have 8 people who are Supernatural athletes who came up through this Apple Watch Challenge, who have now formed 2 teams that compete internationally. Like there's a group, a monthly challenge with over 600 teams, and we're typically, both teams are in the top 10 or 15. So we're, cool. That's cool that we're people who didn't know each other before the headset. We're all friends now, and we're we're pretty cool. We're having a good time and maxing
That's
out
amazing.
every single day.
Wow. I have a confession to make that's sort of like you're bending the rules and skipping a song.
Yeah. Right.
When it comes to stand hours, I am very, very guilty of putting my head down, working, blocking everything else out, ignoring my Apple Watch telling me to stand. And then it will be like 2 minutes before the hour's up. And I'm over here going, yes, 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 with my hand just fist pumping to get my stand hour. So, we all do it.
There was a crazy day. There was a crazy day where I was not feeling well. I was up overnight. And, I accidentally somehow got the 12 a.m., the 1 a.m., and the 2 a.m. And, I start working out between 3 and 4, right? I'm like, I said, I wonder if it'd be possible to do 24 stand hours, which is not what it sounds, right? It doesn't take 24 hours to do 24 stand hours.
Right.
So, I created a little Facebook group for 24 stand hours. And so far, Dwight and I are the only two people that have managed to do it. I wish someone else would do it. No offense against Dwight, but we're too boring people right now.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You want some more people. Well, I've come very close. Usually it's because I have to charge my watch.
Oh,
right. And so that's why I don't get that hour. But if I pay more attention to it, I'm coming for your group. All you had to say was you have a club and I'm down. I'm coming. I'm going to do everything possible to get into it.
The Century Week is another one like that. It's like, what do you mean 100,000 points in a week, right? And I had a friend who did it, and I'm like, what are you doing, right? And I was like, oh, there's a club, and I'm like, and where she got me was, they have a spreadsheet. I'm like, what? I can be on the spreadsheet?
Exactly. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Yeah. For some of us, it's such motivation, Such motivation. Right. It's hilarious. I do wonder if, I know that you're a fellow space enthusiast.
Yes.
You live in the space capital of the United States, basically. Yeah. Get to see all the launches.
We do. Yeah, we have a great view. I'm going to point. We are about 12 miles away from the launch pads right there. And I love the history of this particular house I'm in. The person who built this house back in 1995 was a space fan. Oh. And the house, faces one way, but this room that I'm speaking in and right above me is angled directly towards the launch pads. And there's a rooftop deck above me that we call the launch viewing platform, right? And it's just so clear to me. She was a New York City Rockette. She's passed on. But she built this house with that beautiful viewing deck. And as we were in another house a mile south of here, and as you would walk around the neighborhood, you would see the people that had the launch viewing decks. And it's like, oh, yeah, that'd be great to one day have a launch viewing deck. Well, I got a great one. So, yeah, we have, anytime someone's in town and there's a launch, like, hey, you got to come over. Watch a launch upstairs. I have cameras up there. We even have a souvenir patch, a commemorative patch. If you watch a launch at our house, we give you a souvenir and you sign our guest book. So we're huge space fans. It's a great time because they're going to have 100 launches this year, right? I mean,
100
from 12, 5 years ago. So, yeah, it's awesome.
How has supernatural and starting your health journey had an effect on this part of your life? On your enthusiasm. I know you take pictures of the launches. You do a lot of that stuff. Has becoming more active helped you in that hobby of yours? Does it roll over to every aspect of your life?
Yeah, so just for various reasons, going out to set up cameras for the launch was something that Mariella and I did for about 3 or 4 years, right? And it's a big hassle to do, especially when a launch scrubs with a minute to go, because then you're going to spend another day out there. And it's actually when we moved into this house, I set up the cameras one more time, and then I realized that I can just go upstairs and get my photos. They're not as good as the ones at the launch site, but that really, my joke is that now if there's a launch at 12:03 a.m., I'll wake up 5 minutes before that. I'll wait till it lands out on the barge, maybe get that photo, and then I'm back to sleep 10 minutes later. Mm-hmm. Whereas those wonderful people who go out on the media bus, they'll be out there till 3 or 4 in the morning, just getting chewed up by mosquitoes, and so it's just easier from here to not have to go out. We have great photos from those days, and we have great friends. But now I'm just happy to get a nice streak shot. to
Yeah,
go back
well,
to
you
sleep.
have the perfect house for it now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You have the perfect setup to for that hobby, for those shots.
Right.
I just think it's so cool. I remember telling my partner Chris about you and about, I always show him your pictures. He's huge space enthusiast, and I think in another life, maybe when he retires, he would love to be in the position you're in with a house with a viewing deck and all of that. That would be his dream. He always says, "When I'm old, I'm just going to stare up at the stars and watch launches." And
Yep.
so I could see him
Yeah.
loving that.
Yeah. And it's cool. I mean, there's cool science happening. Like the back when I was going out, I got to interview the guy who was the principal investigator between the spacecraft that went and surveyed the asteroid Bennu. That's a 3-year trip to get there and a year to map the whole thing and a year to come back. And so just to watch that entire process go, 6 or 7 years of your life, it's fascinating to watch everything that's happening out there. And you hear these crazy plans they have, like they're going to land on the moon and use a big mirror to melt the ice at it's like you just hear that stuff and you say that's never going to work, but then it works. It's like
Right.
okay, or it doesn't. But
That's
some of
incredible.
them do. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
So you came into Supernatural, and I say this with all love, as a huge data nerd. Oh, my
Oh
cat
my
is
God.
here making an appearance. Just, ignore him. He's okay.
Okay.
You came in as a big data nerd, so it does not surprise me that you continued following the data once you got into Supernatural.
Absolutely. As soon as I heard that the Airtable existed, the community Airtable, I was instantly on that. And it was weird to me because it wasn't in Excel and not in Google Sheets. It was something else. But they had the export to CSV. And, once I had the data in Excel, I'm always, as part of my job as Mr. Excel, I'm writing books about Excel, but I also have a YouTube channel. I always need examples. And
Right.
so, where do you get the fake data from? Well, now, hey, I had this great set of data, like all the workouts in Supernatural. So you could, if you had to do a pivot table, it might as well be a pivot table about the workouts or what, here's a question. Let's see if we can solve this with something, right? And so it just gave me a great data set to work with. And it allowed me to, connect with my community a little bit about Mr. Excel, saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's my headset. I'm trying to get healthy. And
Right.
did I that day say, if you want a referral code, let me know? I'm not sure. But I was probably thinking it, hey, let's get a $25 credit from some of these folks. And I even said, hey, hit me up. If you are in Supernatural, join, let me know and we'll follow each other on the leaderboard. I have a huge leaderboard of people, anyone that I hear. And it's funny, I never want to be at the top of my leaderboard ever.
Same.
I am super comfortable having 10 people above me because it just reminds me that there's more that you can do. And I would always, like, when I finally got to the point where I could get to 25,000 a week. And I remember, a guy named Jim who was religiously above me, and I would like his workout every time with no response. And then one week I finally got to 30,000 and he comments, he says, hey, you're having a good week. Right. So, that means that he at least knew I existed, and to hear from someone who was my hero because he's constantly been above me on the leaderboard, that was super motivating.
Yes.
Right. And so I follow anyone who I think will be above me, which is great because that gives me a great view of all the millionaires. Right. If someone becomes a new millionaire, it's like, oh, I'm going to follow you. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So.
That's amazing. So, completed the library. I know you did your century week. Was there
crazy.
a workout that you repeated consistently that was worth a high amount of points to help you get to your century week? Because I know I have several. I'm interested to hear what one of yours was.
Okay, so I have 10-minute quick hits pros only with Coach Mark from 9/18/22. It has Venom. They're death metal songs, which I actually hate. I hate the music. There will be times in that century week where I will just turn off the music and just listen to Coach Mark, which is ridiculous, right? I get that. It's just like it's such angry music, but it for me, as a
Right.
really high point per minute. And I know it was Groundhog's Day. So I currently live in Florida, but I grew up in northeastern Ohio where it's just freaking cold.
Right.
And I remember when I was about 3 or 4, my older sister, 12 years older than me, told me about this magic day where potentially tomorrow, if the groundhog didn't, or if, something about a shadow, that this
Right.
horrible winter could be over, right? And so for me, the Groundhog's Day is my favorite holiday, even though it's not an issue anymore. So on Groundhog's Day, I did Coach Mark's workout 28 times.
Woo!
28 times. And
28 times.
yeah, because of the movie Groundhog's Day, right? And I
Yeah.
posted, and that was the first time Coach Mark ever wrote back to me in the post. Something about he had a funny remark, and so I knew in my head that if I would ever go for the Century Week, I would that would play a big role in it. But what's funny is Mary Ellen Jelen, Mrs. Excel, she looked at me and she said, "You should not be attempting this," right? And then I heard that it was possible to do a one-on-one session with Coach Doc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mary Ellen and I did that to talk about scheduling, and it was a great hour with Coach Doc. But she called me out to Coach Doc. Coach, he's trying to do this crazy thing, and Coach said you should not do that, right? That just shouldn't be done. So that scared me away for a good 4 to 6 weeks, but it kept calling me back, right? And that's good, because you can't do 100,000 a week without doing a 14,000 day. You need to be able
Yes.
to get up to that point. And so for the Century Week, I think I did that workout Monday through Wednesday just continuously. That's all I did. And it was so funny to watch the scores improve because it gets synced to how fast you can hit those targets.
Right.
Like after 10 plays, that's after 20 songs.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Your algorithm adjusts for that particular workout.
And
My cat.
I'm not aware. I know the morning crew knows me, but I wasn't aware of the other people that knew me. And someone came along and said, "You're not doing the most efficient workout. There's a workout that's faster. You're at 66 points per minute. There's a 73." And so for half a day, I switched to the 73, but I really liked the other one, and I went back to it. So yeah, that week there were a lot of that one workout over and over and over. And at the end of the week, I said, "Well, this was insane. I'll never do this again." But now you're like 8 months out, and you're like, well, maybe we could do it again.
Exact. That's the thing about the Century Weeks is, it's possible,
Right.
and then it's like, well, why not try it again? I personally have no desire to do it again. I've done it. However, I should never say never because I have been thinking about it and I would do it with only my favorite workouts. I want to do it in a different way. I went for high points workouts last time. Obviously points or workouts that I enjoyed, but they were really based on high points. And I would only do them with workouts that I love the choreography on. So I would love to do a Century Week in that way. But fun fact, the quick hit that you're talking about is made from Welcome to the Madhouse. That is the only Madhouse quick hit that we have in the library. So
Nice.
it's not surprising to me that it's so high points,
Right.
because it's so dense. Welcome to the Madhouse was dense.
And, at Mr. Excel, we're all about saving clicks. How can we do something faster in Excel? And so, as you're doing the same workout over and over, you learn these little things like, okay, I don't need to, it's going to be up there on the right. If I just wait, it'll be up there on the right. I can save a click there, and it's so funny. At one point, Mark says, if you need an extra moment to hit these targets, take a half a step back. Like my brain knows that's coming. I take the half step back, even though it's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, and you get this little in the battle ropes of that second song. You're like, there's a rhythm there. You just become very much in tune with that workout. So
I bet your muscle memory is so in tune with that. You could probably do it with your eyes closed if you just heard the music and the coaching.
That's funny.
That would be a cool
hilarious.
experiment.
We should try that. Let's do the whole catalog with our eyes closed. I mean, I'm currently trying to do it. I'm trying to do it in Super Sense right now, but let's go super sense. Yeah, blindfolded on a horse. Blindfolded on a horse.
Yeah. We're going to start a whole new club.
Yeah.
People are going to go crazy. There are quite a few workouts in the library that I do feel I could probably almost nail with my eyes closed because I've done them so many times. And I do know the movements by heart. And sometimes I will close my eyes ish and do turns and hits. And
Right.
that's always fun. That's just a challenging thing for me. Um,
So I have this crazy long-term goal to diamond everything, and I hear you
uh-huh.
talking about the way to diamond something. You just do the same workout over and over, and you listen to the music and you do all that. And I'm not committed enough to do that yet.
Hmm.
But there will be a few workouts where I don't get close to a diamond. I'm like, if I'm ever going to do this, I'm going to have to do what Marla said. I'm going to have to go, like, really study the workout
Hmm.
and figure out, like, film it, right? Figure out
You have
where
to film
things
it.
are going wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of the times it's the angle at which targets are that make it difficult for you to achieve a power hit. So for me, after studying and watching, it was always a lot of double up hits. And
Mm.
it was difficult for me personally, and it had to do with momentum. But after watching myself, filming them, watching the gameplay, I've been able to adjust my own movement so that now I can hit them with power, in my personal power range. And I think a lot of people don't understand this about the algorithm. And when it comes to how to get a diamond and the fact that everyone has their own personal algorithm, power range, and you have to hit each target no matter what target, where it's coming from, within that range as
Right.
fast as that. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to diamond everything, you have to figure your range. And you have to be able to do that for every level, from pros down to lows, especially if you're trying to do the entire library, you know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's the consistency is more important, and that's
100%.
why I think, like, if you go from a low to a high, that low is going to screw up because you're going to be able to hit faster or harder,
Hmm.
right? And so the one advantage to my Century Week plan of just the same workout over and over is that it got in tune with itself.
Yes.
Like, my history was that the last 20 workouts or 20
Yes.
songs, or I've heard, yeah,
It
so
goes both ways. Usually,
right.
songs is what I've found personally, only because by happenstance, I partial a lot of workouts. I play workouts where I only want to do the first two songs, or I want to skip the first song and play the second and third song. And so I realized just accidentally that it's based on songs versus full workouts. And I
Okay.
don't think a
Right.
lot of people realize that.
Yeah.
It's not something I go post about, but it is part of the algorithm that I've sort of figured out accidentally. So I would say 20 songs and not 20 full workouts.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
But also, if you wanted to, I think it would be hard to diamond the whole catalog if you don't separate the intensity levels. So, say you go for diamonding all lows and then you move to diamonding all highs or all pros. But if you mix everything in, all the intensity levels, that will definitely change your algorithm and make it more challenging to get a
Okay.
diamond on all of them.
Right.
That's just
Yeah.
my piece of advice when you're going after that goal.
Right. Yeah. That'll be a ways away. Let me finish super sensing the catalog, and then we'll figure out where we go next. And by the way, Super Sense, I started doing the Super Sense because there's a workout party on Saturdays called Super Sense Saturday where everyone's supposed to be in Super Sense. And so you would do it 1 hour a week. But if you just switch over to Super Sense, like, just switch over today,
Yeah.
it all becomes very much second nature.
Yeah,
Like, you don't notice
100%.
those things are disappearing. So yeah,
I
that's always my
personally
advice.
don't play Super Sense a lot because I can't study the choreography as much or as in
Okay.
depth because you can't see it.
Right.
It comes and goes. And
Yeah.
so I don't use Super Sense as often as I could. I could on my older workouts. On old workouts, I've played so many times, but on the new ones, I'm always studying and always trying to figure out the choreography and pay attention to it. That if I did it on Super Sense, I think I would miss a lot of that.
Okay, so let's talk about. I got a pet peeve here. Let's talk
Sure,
about this pet
bring
peeve.
it on.
Okay, so if I can't find the data, then I'm going to go crazy lengths to get the data. Like you can go into the app and you can look at the
Yeah.
workout detail and you can calculate the actual numbers. Because it was driving me nuts that if I would get 98% accuracy, sometimes with 99% power on flow, that would be a diamond, but not all of the time. And then I finally realized that what you need on that right side is you need a 99.5 for the 98 on the left side to get you a diamond, right? And the problem is they're showing us 99.1, 99.2, 99, all the way up to 100. We get to see those in tenths of a percent.
Right.
But on the left side, like back at 98, you don't know if that 98 is really a 97.5 or a 97.49.
Right.
Or a 98.49. Like that whole range is just reported as 98. And you can go, it's hard. You can go figure it out. You can actually go do the math. Like when you're like, oh, I should have got a diamond, and you really go look. But, my question is why can't Supernatural just give us that decimal point? Because then it'd be so much more clear of exactly how this is working and where we need to be, and like why that 98 this time worked and it didn't work to the next time, because there's some percentage point that we're not there, that we're not seeing. So
Right.
if I had a and there's room for it, there's clearly room for it. It's not a room issue. They're doing an extra step to round it. It would be easier for them to show us the decimal point. That would just make it a little bit more transparent and a little bit less frustrating. With like, I should have got a diamond on that. Why didn't I?
Right.
Or even triple platinum to double platinum, or wherever you are in that continuum.
For
If you
sure.
could see both of those percentages, it would be a cool thing.
I remember when they didn't show us any percentage points. So you only got 99%. That was it. There was no percentage. It didn't say 99.1 or 99.5. And then when it changed over, I think it was towards the end of 2021 that we finally started getting the percentage point that we see now. But you're right.
actually,
they could show us.
I should stop whining and consider myself lucky, because it was a lot worse before. Is that what
No, definitely not, because I would love to see that, because I pay attention more to accuracy for me personally.
Right.
But, triangles are weighed more than targets.
I know, right?
So if you miss triangles, it can put your score to 99.8, even though you've missed one triangle, versus missing one target, and it goes to 99.9. And I personally have trouble with triangles because I move so much when I play Supernatural. My feet are never just stationary. I'm always moving side to side, front to back. So I will follow the triangles, but then I will quickly move out of them. And when I'm trying for accuracy, I have to try and stay still. Yeah. Don't move so much, Marla.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. That's so counterintuitive, but it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard for me because the Madhouse Monster is one of the madhouses I have not gotten 100% accuracy on. And what ruins it for me is the song, it's the Corn song, and has all these triangles, all this. They've got the leaning triangles, they've got the lunge triangles, and it knocks me to 99.5% accuracy from that song every single time. I have gotten 100% accuracy on it once, but I did not move. Like, I did not pick my feet up. I just followed. I even kept myself small, trying to stay under the peak. Like, I want 100% accuracy on this song. So it's crazy.
Look, I'm going to whisper this because my friends already know I'm thinking it. They can see my face. They know what I'm thinking. Marla, skip song on the Corn song.
I can't.
No, don't tell anyone. Just don't tell anyone. They
Just
won't know.
don't tell anyone. No, I couldn't.
It's completely
claim
legal.
it.
Do you do the warm up and cool down? Honestly, do you really do the warm up? I mean, we're doing
I
10
do
workouts
the
in a row
warm up on
for the
every
first one.
new workout. On my first play of a workout, I do not skip the warm up. That is something I chose to do this year, and I've stuck by it. Even in parties, like, people had to wait for me. And I've gotten people into doing the warm up because I noticed the choreographers and the coaches are communicating new movements to us in the warm-ups. So if there's a new move, new triangles, the only way we're going to learn it is in the warm-up. And me being choreography obsessed, I'm naturally going to listen.
That's good.
And so
I like it.
Now my friends have to do it's just the first play. If it's a workout I've played before, I will skip the warm up. But I do skip every cool down.
See,
I
now
won't.
the thing that's missing from the Airtable, and the thing I would kill for, and I know you have different data ideas.
Yeah.
I want the spreadsheet of all of Coach Mark's dad jokes. Like I want to know,
That would
where
be incredible.
where is that joke? Right, that was a hilarious joke. I want to go back and listen to that. And the other one that got me was, it just cracked me up. Coach Tawana one day was talking about how she loves to eat and just knocks out Yo quiero Taco Bell, right? And like I just roared. And then, okay, wait a second. I need to go find that one again. I remember that I was in this ocularium, so that means it was an afternoon workout. And so find, all of your history with Coach Tawana in that time of, year where I was working out upstairs. And I finally found it. I finally went back and found it. But if there was just a great database of all the hilarious things that the coaches say, oh my God,
That would be incredible. I would love that. I would also love when new movements in choreography show up.
Oh, yeah.
What workout, what song, a video of it. That's my personal dream for the Airtable or for any data set, just to have that recorded. And then when it shows up again. And so if there is a move that you absolutely love in Supernatural or you're trying to master, you can easily go look it up and go, okay, well, let me go train and do them in these following workouts. I think that would be really rad information to have. But I like the dad joke idea. That's
every once
great.
in a while, I see someone in Supernatural Maine on Facebook say, "Hey, we really would like accessibility and we'd love captions," right? And I don't need the captions, but if that caption data existed, wow, then the dad joke database becomes possible. Right?
You're absolutely right. I didn't think about it in that way, but you were absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's the door. That's the door we need open to get the dad joke database.
I need captions too.
Right? I mean, I'm a caption person when I watch TV.
Oh, so am I.
I don't know.
God.
I mean, maybe I would use it in Supernatural.
There are so many jokes that you can only hear in the captions because the captions people are going from the script, right? And I was like, that was hilarious, but no one would have picked that up. I think it drives Mary Ellen crazy when I turn on the captions, and especially if it's a British show.
Oh, definitely.
Like, hey, I need this on, but there's so many little jokes that come out. So yeah, captions.
The way my brain works and processes information, I find personally reading, I have to see, and then I have to read. Like I need all of the ways to absorb information. So I've been a closed caption person for years, and my partner, he already knows. It's always on all the TVs. It comes on automatically. There's even like a radio that does closed captioning, and I'll just sit there and read it while we're listening to the radio.
Wow.
That drives him crazy.
Okay.
He's like, why?
That's great.
Why, Marla? But it's just the way my brain processes information. So if I'm trying to learn something, the best way for me to learn it is to watch a video, to read about it, and then go do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I wonder what closed captioning would be like in Supernatural.
I write books, and maybe 7 years ago, Microsoft Press said, look, we're going to commit to this. There's going to be a alt text. There's going to be alt text for every image. I have 1,000 images in the book, so I'm writing a lot of alt text. But I get it. It's like a great way to have a conversation with people outside the text. You have little jokes in the alt text. And I turn my own alt text on just because I get to go back and see the funny things I said.
Yeah.
Right. So, closed captioning is really important. And it's also important. The number of people that are using closed captioning that can hear perfectly well, they're either speaking English as a second language and it's easier to read, or they're in a work environment. Like if you can't watch a YouTube video if you're in a cube farm, but if there's captions, you can get away, you can do it. So it's definitely for me, it's always worth it to have the captions available on the content. Just because
100%.
Yeah. Gives more people access, a lot more people access.
So if we're on to our data wishes, what would you wish to see happen in the companion app? Like if you could get more data, obviously you said the percentage points. You want to see Is the accuracy 97.5? Is it 98.2? You want the full percentage points for all of that. What else? What other data would you love to see?
There was a great adventure where we tried to work out in every place around the world, right? And so you could go to the Airtable to get that, but boy, it'd be nice if we could just search for, give me all of the Tahiti. Like, what are the workouts? What are all the workouts that are in Tahiti that I haven't completed yet? Like, that would be really good, right? And what we can search for artists, but we can't search by song title. That, I mean, those are things that would be a lot better.
Valuable.
Yeah.
I never remember art. I remember song titles because I'm repeating the words, the lyrics of the song in my brain. And I'm like, oh, well, this is the name of the song. Let me search that. I don't necessarily know the artist. So I agree with that. I would love to be able to search by song.
Yeah. And then, genre and year that it actually was originally released. I don't want to know that it was remastered in 2006. Like, this is a song from the 80s. And I have a funny Excel example. Microsoft Labs, which is a group in Cambridge, England, put together an add-in where you can write a formula that gets sent to ChatGPT. And so I have this great example where I took all of the songs in Supernatural and asked ChatGPT to tell me what year it was originally recorded. So then I could create a true 80s playlist, which is one of those things. As I listen to myself say that, it is just absolutely insane. Like, why would I admit that I spent all of that time for something so silly? But it was just the challenge.
It's the challenge of it in the data. It's your hobby. It's what interests you.
Right.
I don't find it silly. I would do something like that in my own silly area, I suppose.
Right. Yeah. So if some guy in Florida can do that, it's meta, right? There's someone.
Yeah.
And I get it. They have important things to do. More important than silly stuff like that. But, even here's just a great idea. At Microsoft, they have 1 week a year. It's called a hackathon, where every Excel developer gets to go work on some pet project that can be done in less than a week, right? And just these tiny little things get added from that week that, would never get prioritized. But, it makes life a little bit better. So
yes, it does.
We should have a hackathon, a supernatural hackathon.
That would be cool. Wow.
Right.
So some of the data that I've seen you post in the community that you've just come along collecting, because I know you're really big into the locations. You even, ABSN hosted that event where it was workout and everywhere in Supernatural, every location, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you've collected all the data of the most used locations, the least used locations. Let's talk about some of that data because I find that fascinating. And I know you have it categorized by year.
Right. Yeah. Because so, what's that? The new place in Tanzania that just showed up 3 months ago and it's been in every week's wows, right? It's the pink sky. That is just my favorite one.
It's gorgeous.
Right. And I love that that's a new one and it's quickly becoming one of the favorites of the people that put these together because we're getting it every week. But I'm always looking for the things that have been popular the whole time, but then were popular for a while and then just fell away. Like no one was using them. So let's see. I show, and this is probably a week old, the most used environment is in New Caledonia. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Plage de Oano. With 169 different workouts.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And that's crazy because there's other places like Mount Fuji, I think has only been in 5 workouts or something like that, right? So, when you were trying to get to Mount Fuji, it was so hard to find workouts that, were high, medium, or low to match your search. And I get it if it's brand new, like new in 2024. That I have a list here, like the 2 places in New Zealand, the Lindis Valley and the Lindis River. I get it. It's only been used once because it's brand new.
Right.
Like even Stonehenge. I remember when I was excited when Stonehenge came out because I always said, oh, it'd be great to go work out in one of these places, to actually visit a place in real life.
Yes.
And
yes.
I have a photo of myself at Stonehenge. Right. So even though when I was at Stonehenge, I had no idea what Supernatural was, at least I can say, well, I've been to one of them, So,
right.
Yeah.
It would be fascinating to find out the people who pick the environments for the workouts. So that's a whole group. I don't think a lot of people realize how many different teams it takes to put together a workout. So you got the choreographers, you got the coaches, you got the curators who pick out the songs and curate the vibe. So whether it's going to be an Absolicious, a retrofit, that's their idea. And then who's over there picking out the environments for the
Yeah,
workouts?
right.
You know?
And there's patterns. So I love the people that I work out with because they've been around a lot longer than I have and pay far more attention than I do. And there's certain things like there's certain really hard workouts that always end in the desert, like as a
Yeah.
joke, right?
Right.
You're always in Death Valley, like you're dead at the end of the workout. And I was like, like I never noticed that.
It's a real Easter egg.
It is. No, it's cool. And I appreciate that someone there is doing those things. And sometimes you'll hear something in the song that matches the environment.
Yes.
It's like, okay, that didn't just randomly happen, right?
Right.
That was
It
fun.
was intentional.
Yeah. Right. And so, yeah, I'll fanboy. When I was early, I went out to LinkedIn and I started looking. Started trying to find the person who would be the environment person.
Yeah.
And try and track them down just to say, hey, I'm just so amazed with all of these, and and of course it didn't work. I didn't find the right person, or they were smart enough to not engage with me, which is probably the right thing to do, because I'm only going to get you in trouble when I try and beg you, like, hey, well, how about this place? How about this place? Because if I find out who you are, you're like, don't ever let me know who you are, because I'll be like, hey, this place, or you have things on the moon. Let's go to the rocket that launched to the moon. Let's create an environment there. I can help you. I volunteer at that museum.
Right.
Let me connect some dots. And I would just become so annoying. So if the person who's doing that is watching this, don't ever reach out to me, because I will leave.
Hide from Bill.
You alone. Hide from Bill.
Hide from Bill.
That is the
You never
best
know.
advice.
I mean, it was a 2.5-year journey for me to find all the choreographers,
There you go.
build talk with them, chat with them, bring them out. So maybe one day you will meet the people who are responsible for building and creating the environments.
That was a huge win when you had a choreographer on your show. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. You found them and you got them to come on the show. That is the amazing thing. But they can become rock stars too.
Yes.
Just like the coaches.
For
I
sure.
have a great client in Southern California who has a chain of women's boutiques, right? So he's designing handbags and stuff. And I learned that from him. He has 8 or 10 designers, and he started making the designers public, right? And like when the best customers come to the factory each year, they meet with like this guy named Tom, and there's Tom's army, and Tom is so cool, just because he embraces these people who come out who are fans of his work. And when we see something new, like even today, we'll stop by their store, and like, oh, that has to be that has to be Tom's, that has to be from Tom. We know that guy, and so there's I don't think there's any good reason to keep everyone's secret other than the possibility that Bill Jelen shows up on your door begging for an environment, right?
That though, there are so many environments, and I'm sure they're working hard behind the scenes. There's a lot of things we don't understand, the requirements for the places and all of that. But
And what was it? Okay, so now this, I'm going to rely on you for this. There was one day early this year where we get a report from Supernatural with all kinds of statistics, including how many different environments you had worked out in.
yeah,
Is that an annual thing? Are we going to get another
it
one of those
used to be an annual thing. I've got them, I want to say 2 years in a row.
Okay. Yeah.
I hope we get it this year.
Because then you start getting people, like I think I know how many environments there are, but then you get someone who has more environments than what I think are there. And then you start to dive in. It's like, okay, what's going on here? And there's 2 environments that are exactly the same place, but the sun is moved a little bit. Like, does that count as 2? It's the same place. It has the same name, but clearly it starts in a different spot. So if I do both of those, like this year, I can't wait to get that number and see if I increase
Well,
the number of environments.
I bet you it is classified behind the scenes as 2 different places because they're different. And so when they're going and scrubbing that data for each user, it's popping up as 2 different locations when we know it's actually the same location, slightly oriented different, which we wouldn't consider that a different location, but in the back end it does.
a Halloween workout. So the
Hmm.
monastery ad deer, DEIR in Petra, Jordan, appears in a lot of workouts, but there's one version where it's dark. They've just taken the
It's
whole thing and
dark.
made it
Yeah.
dark. Does that count? If I work out in both places, do I get credit for two? Those are the
Yes.
things. Those are the things
I
that keep me up.
well, I bet it is
Right.
because this is fascinating to me the way you do that with locations. I do this with songs and the
Oh,
mapping of songs.
yeah.
So sometimes in SuperNet, there's lots of songs that are repeated. In fact, you have a whole data list of the most popular songs, how many times they're in there,
Right.
but how many of those are different maps,
Oh my
original
God.
maps.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what fascinates me. So I see your data and I see, the top 5 most popular songs, right? Look, I'm going here to my notes to see. We got the longest songs, popular environments, but
Top
how
20
many
songs,
times?
Supernatural. Yeah.
So if a
So,
song's in there 26 times and it's 6 times in low, 12 times in high, but how many of those are different maps? That I
oh,
want to
wow.
know.
See, and that would require some real
Yes.
memory. Like you would have to remember
Yes,
the other times you did it.
exactly. And
Yeah.
you'd have to make notes. And I do make notes like that on songs. For example, there was a new workout this week that is a muscle meltdown. It's a high flow. It has raining blood in it. Now we know that song is from Madhouses. We also know that song is in one of your absolute favorite workouts, which is Stone into Sand.
Yes. Right.
And this is a different map
Oh.
than any of those.
Okay. So now for you, if it's the exact same target order, but a different background, does that count as the same map? Yes.
Yes.
If you're
100%.
swinging the same way.
Yes.
Because that's happened, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Same
that happens
choreography,
all the
but different
time.
background.
Yeah. Especially when they make quick hits because they'll always change the
Oh.
environment from the original environment to a new one. But as long as the choreography is the absolute same, I would count that as the same. I'm here looking at the choreography. And I know sometimes they take and rework them, what they call a reshuffle. So they'll update them a little bit. So it will have the original choreography, but say these 2 targets over here were altered the angle slightly, or they added knees
Right.
into it, or added more
Look.
triangles. So I like to see the difference there.
Okay,
And
so
yeah, go
I
ahead.
now see that we have departments here, right? Like we need to go
Yes,
get hired by Supernatural, right? And I'll
right.
be in charge of obscure environment questions, and you'll be in
Yes,
charge of obscure mapping questions. Like we have a
yes,
role for both of us,
we do.
and we'll be right
I
down the hall
agree.
from each other.
Yes.
Go to lunch. Yeah.
And then we
Okay.
can go to lunch and
Yeah.
share our notes and our data because I would love that, man. That would be really rad to to actually take all that data and make it
So
usable for us.
let's talk about those most used songs a little bit because I have a few
Sure.
favorites in here.
Okay.
I remember when I first downloaded the Airtable and I'm trying to look for duplicates. I'm looking for song title and artist, and I noticed there was a song which is currently number 3 called "Bang Bang"
Mm-hmm.
by will.i.am. And there's also a version by Dizzy Gillespie from
Yes.
1934. And without listening to the song, I was convinced that had to be 2 different songs. That there's no way that this song from 1934 and will.i.am is the same song. But then later, when I actually wanted to do it correctly, I went and got the lyrics for both versions, and I'll be a son of a gun. They are the same song,
Oh,
right? So now in
wow.
my list, I now combine those 2 versions, which makes Bang Bang in a 3-way tie for third with 24 plays across all the workouts, right? And that to me is just hilarious. That who knew that the will.i.am version is a cover of this 1934 jazz
Yeah,
song?
I had
Like,
no idea that
no,
was a
right?
cover.
Yeah, that's wild. And then all my friends talk about "I'm Coming Out" being, like they're like, it has to be "I'm Coming Out" as the most used song,
Right.
but it's not. I have it at number 6 with 22 plays, and that's including "I'm Coming Out" and also "Upside Down" / "I'm Coming Out." Um,
Yeah.
right? Okay, but then I'm working out one morning, and it's a rap attack or hip hop or something, and Mo Money Mo Problems. Mo Money Mo Problems has sampled "I'm Coming Out," right? And I actually this is so embarrassing. I have these little notebooks next to when I'm working out for things that I think of, right? I always have these notebooks I jot down notes,
Please
and I
remember who you're speaking to. This is not embarrassing. This is someone who pauses between songs to make notes about the song, okay?
yeah,
And about the
right.
choreo. So this is never embarrassing, friend. Never.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I actually sat down at YouTube to listen to Mo Money Mo Problems, and how many times they sampled "I'm Coming Out," right?
Right.
And Mo Money Mo Problems has more "I'm Coming Out" than "I'm Coming Out" has, right? So really, there's a version
Wow.
of this top 20 list that combines those, and of course it is the clear winner. But then someone said, well, then you're gonna have to go find all the other songs that were sampled, so I backed away from that. So currently, "I'm Coming Out," I have it number 6. Number 6 on the list. So and then "Aha," "Take on Me," and "Are You Gonna Be My Girl" by Jet have been going back and forth between number 1. I think we just got an "Aha" this last week.
I
So
think
that
we
moved them
did
back into the
too.
tie. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
I don't know why it surprises me. That Jet song is one of the very first songs in a workout in Supernatural. It goes back to the beta days.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that's fascinating to me that
I,
it's
I,
still going, it's still popular. They're still
yeah.
using it.
Right. They're still using it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So interesting. Yeah. Just crazy. Crazy. And, I came into Supernatural as a Bruce Springsteen fan. And for whatever reason, there is hardly any Bruce, right? The only Bruce Springsteen we have is the Tom Morello, where it features Bruce Springsteen. And I was doing lows. I was sitting here doing low flows, and I discovered that song was the 10th track in a high monster. And so I had to go do it just to get to that one Bruce Springsteen song. I was laughing the whole time.
Motivated you.
We're coming so fast. It's like, this is ridiculous. No one could ever do high flows, And thankfully they moved that song to be it's in 2 workouts now. It's the first track. And I actually use just saying this stuff sounds so silly. If like this morning, I ended up at 8,004 points. And I knew that 8,008 would be a funnier number to end the day, just because it's a palindrome, right? So I can count on Bruce Springsteen to get me 2, 4, or 6 points, depending on the number of triangles at the beginning. So I play that one as a partial a lot, just to get the number to be some number that amuses me.
Right.
So
I do the same thing. I always try and end with all the same. So if it's 4,444, or
there's a name
if
for
I'm
that.
that close.
It's a monodigit. There's a word. I went out and looked up the word. Those are monodigit numbers.
Okay.
And trying to get 11111, 2222,
Yes.
3333. Yeah. That's
I'm into monodigits.
I hope you
then.
screenshot them, because we're going to have a club.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. There will be a club. I want in it. So I better start saving them for sure.
So on my way to 100,000, I had told a lot of people I was going to cross on Saturday. And so we had a plan. We were all going to get together. And but then I got there too fast. I got there, Friday, like I was ready to cross. So I stopped at 99999. And so I created the club 99999.
You did.
On the edge of glory. Just, I say, on your
the
way to
edge of
100,000, stop here to ponder what a stupid thing you've just done. And then you should never do it again.
Well, what's on another episode of For the Love of the Map, I mentioned your club for people who want to attempt 100K week, and they want some support. They want some tips. I mentioned your group for that. And so if there are other people who like doing the things they once thought impossible safely and want some tips, you should definitely come over there. It's been, we don't really advertise it per se or talk about it, make posts about it, but it exists. So if you've ever thought, let me go be one of these crazy people and do 100K in a week, We've got a group. You can come and talk to us about it. We'll help you.
Yeah. I remember I had a lot of tips,
Yeah.
I'm like, I should memorialize these somehow,
Yes.
in case I ever want to come back. Here's the crazy thing. I have this YouTube channel. With 2,600 Excel videos. And people think that I'm doing those videos for other people. They think that I'm making those videos for other people to watch. I just know that I have a horrible memory. And when I discover something new, I go make the video so I can find it later, right? It's just
So
a cataloging system for me, right? The fact that anyone else is watching just blows me away. But, so.
It's a memory. It's for you to come back.
That's right.
How do I do that again? How did I? Yeah, that's smart.
One of our jokes is you go out and you're like, you have to do something in Excel, you go Google it, and you end up at a website with something that you wrote 3 years ago. It's like, oh, look, I did know this at one time.
I did know how to do this. That's hilarious. Oh, man. So we want more data from Supernatural.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. It would be awesome to have more data. Although it's a slippery slope, because if you, as soon as you give me 1 decimal point, I'm going to ask for 2. I get
That's
it.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. But, just something, little Easter egg here and there. So.
It would be nice to have a little bit more transparency on the algorithm and the scoring. I know we're in there working out. I get it. Listen, I've been here 3 years. I understand. But it is gamified fitness. And there are some people that it highly affects to have bad scores,
Right.
It discourages them. And if they could understand that it's not about hitting harder and hurting your shoulders, it's about consistency in what you can consistently do. If there was a little bit more transparency about that, I think it would greatly motivate everyone involved. I'm not sure why they hide that from us. I've always wondered,
And it could be that they're busy creating great new things for us to do, like Together Mode, right? And that takes a lot of engineering hours, and the tiny amount of time that it would take to give us these crazy things just doesn't seem like a priority. But I mean, that's the greatest thing, that they have all of these raving fans who are desperate to know more. And, we want to become evangelists. We want to tell the world. So, 100%. To a certain extent, keeping us happy is good, because, we'll love Supernatural. Will love you forever. Yeah. And, we'll try and get the whole world here to be as crazy as we are.
That's always the goal.
Yeah.
So I have 2 important questions.
All right.
One is food related. Do you have a go-to snack, something you cannot live without?
Yeah. So, I'm a big fan of all the things that are bad for me. So
Same.
I took all of those away. So pretzels are the crunchy, salty snack that I still have.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably pretzels or popcorn. Yeah.
Popcorn. Man, I love popcorn.
I'm a big fan. So down here in Florida, our grocery store is Publix, and our local Publix has a great clearance, 1 rack, 4 sides of a rack. And every time I go there, I always go hit the clearance rack to find the products that someone thought were going to be a great idea and they didn't catch on. So now they're dumping them, right? And this morning, it was, I know this is going to sound horrible, but I couldn't stop myself. It was air pop popcorn with pumpkin pie spice, right? They're just closing it out for like 87 cents a bag. And I'm like, okay, well, it's worth 87 cents just to find out.
Right?
So,
just to find out.
Yeah. By tonight, my new favorite snack might be
pumpkin spice.
So, yeah. And the bad thing is, anything on that rack that you find that's good, you'll never be able to find it again because it's been discontinued. So you don't actually want to like anything.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about it like that, because it's gone. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know that I want to buy anything there. What if you fall in love with it and it's like your new favorite food ever?
When a book doesn't do well, when they order too many of the books, when they printed too many books and the book doesn't do well, they don't sell the book. They sell the book by the ton, right? So they go to this company that buys it by the ton, and then it ends up at the front of your bookstore in that, the bargain books rack. So it's always like, when it makes it to the clearance rack at Publix, it's the same as when my books end up on the dollar rack at the front of the store. Well, it's better than throwing them in the trash, right?
It is. Yeah. It's absolutely better than throwing them in the trash. Well, now you'll have to let us know how that pumpkin spice Popcorn
leave
is,
it.
dude.
I'll leave a comment down below the
Yeah,
episode.
leave a comment. Let us know if you liked it and enjoyed it. I don't know about that, but okay.
I know.
So we started this tradition where we always ask everyone, if you were to pick an emoji reaction, hug, and it had to be an animal, what would you pick? So think I send you a message in Messenger and I just have this horrible day and you don't want to heart it because that's not appropriate, right? You know, so I'm glad you had a bad day, Marla. But you want to show that you read it and that you care and you want to give me a hug. What animal would you pick for your hug?
I'm gonna have to go with my black Labrador Retriever. Our wonderful Bella just left us a couple weeks ago, and we sure do miss her. She was a great dog. So I would send you a hug from a black lab named Bella.
I love that. And now when I get a black hug reaction from you, I know, and I'll think about Bella too. You know,
there you go. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
I like that one. Well, I appreciate that. So, last thing, we always leave everyone with a workout suggestion. What is your workout suggestion of the week?
Okay, so this is a crazy one. I knew that obviously I'd be talking to you. I was trying to come up with all kinds of interesting data. And so I went back and ran some reports that I've run before. One focused on things that have a high points per minute, which is how I found Coach Mark's, quick hits that I did for that Century Week. And it's funny, there's Welcome to the Madhouse has very high points per minute. But this new track from just 2 or 3 weeks ago, it's a high flow from October 14th, about a 20-minute workout that's generating 66 points per minute. It's called Take a Dance.
Yeah.
And I did it as part of the WOWs, and I thought, well, this is cool, but I didn't realize how high points it was. So I'm going to go back and start playing that one a lot. It's a great way to get a lot of points without the angry death metal of the other one. Right. It actually seems like good tracks. And so that'll be my new favorite track for a while. So Take a Dance, October 14th, 24, high flow. Yeah.
That's a Leanne workout. It's, we've been gifted so many new pros only this year. It's double.
Been great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Double the amount of pros only that we've gotten in previous years. It's great to see that they listen to our requests for more pros. So
right. That's right. And all the people out there who are listening to us saying, no, we hate pros only. Why? We need more low flows. Well, they listen to you too.
Exactly.
We don't have data. We don't run data about it because we're not crazy about it.
Oh man. I will make sure to post the workout suggestion of the week in the group and also here if you're watching on YouTube. And when you guys get done playing this workout, do not forget to rate it. It is so important. So important. They want to hear from us. Also, we've been told so few people rate it that the people who do rate it have a much louder voice. Their opinion counts so much more because not as many people are rating workouts. So important to rate the workouts, guys. Most definitely.
That's good to know. They should put that more in your face. It's hard to look over there to the left. It's just hard.
It is, especially if you are moving quickly to the next workout. Because once you click off of there in your score, the rating area is gone. And you have to repeat the workout to be able to rate it.
Which I'm on to the next thing. Yeah, there'll be a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I would have loved to have had a comment, but it's too late. So
yes, exactly. So make sure you rate them, guys. And dude, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing all your data with us and just chatting with us and telling us your story. I hope you come back.
I appreciate how much work it takes to put this out week after week after week after week. So for all the people watching thanks for all the editing and planning and everything. I know how crazy this is to do.
I appreciate you. Thank you, dude. And anytime I get to spend talking about supernatural choreography and the joy and movement is a fantastic day for me. And so thank you guys. See you next time. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of For the Love of the Map. As always, you can join the discussion in the private Facebook group and follow along with show updates on Instagram and TikTok. Links can be found in the description below. If you find value in the show, please share it with your friends. Your comments, likes, and reviews are invaluable, and I cannot thank you guys enough. See you next time.